Hello and welcome to yet another interesting time in information technology class. My name is Gogo Ella Thompson, and in this lesson, we will be looking at the topic Worksheets under the theme Computer Application Packages. In a previous lesson, spreadsheet packages were introduced, but in this lesson, we're going to enter data in the work environment of spreadsheet packages, specifically Microsoft Excel. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to do a few things. First, you should be able to describe a worksheet. Next, you should be able to describe how to open, enter, edit, and save data in a worksheet. Next, you should be able to describe how to perform simple calculations. You should also be able to describe how to format text and cells in a worksheet. And finally, you should be able to describe how to print data from worksheets. There are certain types of computer software that can help us carry out calculations easily and quickly. A general name for such application packages is spreadsheet package. A spreadsheet package is an application software with features that can easily sort and arrange data as well as calculate numerical data using mathematical formulas. In spreadsheet packages, calculations are carried out in a work environment called the worksheet. Worksheets are made up of spaces formed by horizontal lines, and these spaces are called rows. Worksheets are also made up of spaces formed by vertical lines, and these spaces are called columns. So, when columns and rows cross, that is when they intersect, cells are formed. So when you look at a worksheet, you will find out that there are so many cells. It is into these cells that data are entered. But before we go into data entry, let's look at the different types of data. Three types of data can be entered into a cell. They are labels, values, and formulas. What are labels? A label comprises alphabets, symbols, and the combination of alphabets and values. The second type of data that can be entered on a worksheet is value, and values are simply numbers. And lastly, we have formulas. Formulas are mathematical equations that return an answer when values are entered. This is an example of a formula. In Excel, a formula is made up of a combination of a function and an argument. The function here is sum, and the argument is this. So here is a scenario. A teacher wants to prepare the results from two sets of tests administered to JS3 students. So you see, these are the test booklets. Now note, spreadsheet packages can be used to prepare results. So let's see an illustration of how this is done. When it comes to entering data, cells are highly needed. Cells are the boxes formed when rows and columns meet. Three types of data can be entered into a cell. The first is a label, the second is a value, and the third is a formula. So here is a sample table that shows the performance of 4 students in a test. This table contains labels and values. Let's start by identifying the labels and then enter the labels into our worksheets. Remember, labels are alphabets as well as combinations of alphabets, numbers, and symbols. So, let's identify the labels on this table. SN, which stands for serial number, is a label. Name is a label. What other labels are here? Test 1, 15 marks, is also a label. Test 2, 15 marks, is a label as well. Any more? Sure, total 100 marks is a label. Any more? Yes, Martha, Peter, Ada, and John are all labels. And with this, we have identified all labels. Now, let's enter the labels into the worksheet using this table for reference. We will begin with serial number. So in cell A1, enter S/N. In cell B1, enter name. In cell C1, enter test 1 in bracket 50 marks. Where do we enter test 2 50 marks? Cell D1. And into cell E1, we will enter total 100 marks. Then into cell B2, enter Martha. Peter. Into cell B3, Ada is entered into cell B4, and John is entered into cell B5. And with this, we have successfully entered all the labels on the table into the spreadsheet. The next set of data we will identify are the values. Remember, values are numbers. So, let's just tick all the numbers. Now, let's go back to the spreadsheet and enter the numbers into the appropriate cells. For the values under the label SN, go to cell A2 and enter 1. Go to cell A3 and enter 2. In this case, you don't need to type all the numbers under the label SN. Simply select the first two numbers, that is the cells containing numbers 1 and 2. Then click on the small dot and drag across the desired number of cells. So you see, there's automatic numbering. Since you've selected 1 and 2, it knows it's to count in that order. And then enter the remaining values into the appropriate cells. And with this, we have successfully entered all the labels and values. Welcome back. So far, we've seen how to enter labels and values. Before we proceed with entering formulas, let's look at some basic mathematical operations because we will need these while entering formulas. There are several mathematical operations that can be carried out. Here are a few mathematical operators. So on Excel, we have addition and the operator is plus. For subtraction, the operator sign is a hyphen. For multiplication, the operator sign is the asterisk. And for division, the operator sign is the /. Here's a quick note. You will find several mathematical operators and formulas on the Formulas tab in the worksheet. At this point, Let's go back to our worksheet to enter formulas using some of these mathematical operators. Here's a simple question. Which of the values do you think can be obtained by using a formula? Remember, formulas are mathematical equations that return answers. And so, you can see that the values under the label total can be gotten using formulas. So, let's just take out the values under total. These values can be obtained by adding the scores in test 1 and test 2. And this can be done using a simple addition formula. To add, select cell C2 and cell D2. Then click on AutoSum under the Home menu. And so you get your answer 62. Another method is to type equal to, click on cell C2, type plus, and then click on cell D2. Press enter on your keyboard and you see you have the same answer, 62. Note, the sign equal to is used to start a formula in Microsoft Excel. As you've observed, we make use of the cell address rather than the values in calculation. This is so that if the values are changed, the result is automatically updated. So for the remaining students, you don't need to repeat the formula. Simply select the first answer you've gotten and then click on the small dot and drag it across the other cells. You see? Automatic calculation. So far, we have seen how addition works. Using these same methods, you can try out other mathematical operators. Now, let's quickly save what we've done. To save, simply click on File menu, click on Save, choose a storage location, for instance, desktop, enter a file name, and click on Save. And here is our file on the desktop. Welcome back. So far, we've been able to enter labels, values, and formulas into the cells of worksheets. And this is our results so far. Now, take a close look at this table. Is it elegant? Is it well arranged? Is it beautiful enough? Well, I don't think so. What can be done about that? The simple answer is formatting. Now, after entering data into the worksheet, the data and the worksheet can be formatted. The format refers to the arrangement and appearance of data on the worksheet, and the process is called formatting. There are several formatting activities that can be carried out on a worksheet, but here are a few. You can align the entries, you can adjust the column width, you can adjust the row height, you can apply fill color, you can apply text color, you can change the font type and size. At this point, let's go back to our worksheet and see how we can format this table. Now, by the time we are done formatting, our table will look this way. Very beautiful, right? There are different formatting activities that can be carried out. From this formatted table, you can see there are different font types, there are different font sizes, there are different font colors, there are different cell colors, and some fonts have a slanty appearance. So let's begin from the top. As you can see, some text are not totally visible. For instance, text 1 is a little bit hidden behind the cell. To do this, we need to expand the column width. To expand the column width, place the cursor on the line connecting the two cells, click and hold, and then move it until all your texts are visible. So you see all our texts are now visible. Another thing we can do here is to change the font type. To do this, select the desired cells and on the home menu, click on the drop down arrow under font types and then select the desired font. In this case, I selected Cambrai. We can also see that the names of the students have a different font. So you select from cell B1 to cell B5 and choose a font type. In this case, it is Christine. You also notice that cells A1 to cell D1 have a yellow color. So simply select these cells and click on the drop down arrow close to the icon that looks like a paint bucket. Then select the color yellow. Apply the same to cells D2 to cells D5. But in this case, select blue color. Then for cells C2 to cell C5, apply the color green. Remember, our end goal is to make our table look like this formatted table. Another thing you'll notice is that the lines are not visible on our table. So simply select from cell A1 to cell E5 and then under the home menu, under font, you'll see borders. Click on the drop down arrow and click on all borders. You also notice that the values under serial number are slanty. The effect is to italicize it. So simply select those cells and under home menu, under font, click on the I, which is next to the B. Click on the I. For the text that are bold, select the cells and make them bold by clicking on the B under home menu. Another thing we'll notice there is that the label total and the values underneath are colored red. So in this case, we're looking at font color. Remember, for fill, we use the icon that looks like a paint bucket. But for font colors, you use the icon A that has colors underneath. So you select the cells whose font you want to change and then go to the icon that looks like A. Click on the drop down arrow and select your desired color. In this case, we want to color them red. As you can see, the table on our worksheets is beginning to look like the already formatted table we are making reference to. As it pertains to alignment, you can see that some texts are placed to the left, some are to the right, and some are to the center. Still using the home menu, select the cells and then under alignment, choose the appropriate alignment, be it left, right, or center. And at this point, I'm sure we are done formatting. perfect replica, right? Having entered all types of data and formatting your worksheet, you can print it out. You can make as many original copies as possible. Usually, the first output of any calculation is displayed on the monitor, and this is called the soft copy. You can also print it out on paper to have a hard copy. You can do the printing using printers. Now, let's go back to our worksheet to print out the table. To print worksheets, simply click on the File menu, click on Print. Make sure your printer is connected to your computer and you have paper in it. Select the desired features such as the name of the printer, the number of copies you want to make, the page numbers, the number of sheets you want to print, the orientation of the sheets, whether portrait or landscape. Just select all the desired features and then simply click on Print. Wait for it to print, and then you can have as many original copies of your formatted worksheet. You see, we're able to create this during the course of this lesson. And with this, we've come to the end of this lesson. But before we leave, let's have a quick summary. First, we learned that calculations on spreadsheet packages are carried out on a work environment known as worksheets. Secondly, we learned that the three types of data that can be entered into a worksheet are labels, values, and formulas. We also learned that labels are alphabets as well as combination with symbols and numbers. Then values are numbers, and formulas are mathematical equations that return answers when values are entered. Going on, we learned that data can be entered directly into the cell or into the formula bar after selecting the desired cell. Next, we learned that some basic arithmetic operators include, and this is specific to Microsoft Excel, the plus sign is for addition, the hyphen is for subtraction, asterisk is for multiplication, and the forward slash is for division. Going on, we learned that the data can be formatted to have a particular arrangement and appearance. And finally, we learned that the results of calculations can be seen on the screen of the monitor and can also be printed out on paper. Now, let's try out some exercises. Question 1. A cell can store three types of data, namely, here are the options. A. Row, column, and cell. B. Label, value, and formula. C. Number, sign, and symbol. D. Picture, text, and video. The correct answer is B. Label, value, and formula. Let's try out one more. Question 2. What is used to start a formula in Microsoft Excel? Here are the options. A. Asterisk. B. The plus sign. C. Forward slash. D. Equal to. The correct answer is D. Equal to. With what you've learned so far, I believe you can now carry out some basic mathematical operations using Microsoft Excel. Till we meet in our next lesson. Bye-bye.